After the race with the horses walking back to the stable, I was third, I was first, I was ninth.
Hey! We're recording the podcast! Shut up!
Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning Somewhere!
for August 6, 2024. Rushed that one. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there. She spent the entire night giving out medals to horses for some reason. It's Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
Hey, horse, you get a medal, and you get a medal. Everyone gets a medal.
I don't know, and you can't say nay. You have to take yours. So I read that horses actually do get ribbons. I don't know what that means, but it's apparently a tradition to give horses ribbons for their performance in competitions, including a little thing we like to call the Olympics.
All right, now let's
This is
make
not going to be all Olympics today, by the way.
Now let's make those ribbons metal. They can hang them outside their stall and show off for the ladies or the gents or whatever.
You know, we're neglecting other sports while we talk about the Olympics. I do want to point out really quickly here. The White Sox of Chicago have tied a record for most losses in a row. They now have 21 losses in a row after falling to the Oakland A's 5-1. So
Is that a record?
the Chicago White Sox lost their 21st straight game, tying the American League record with a 5-1 defeat to the Oakland Athletics on Monday night as Max Schumann hit a tie-breaking 2-run single in the fourth inning, which is kind of interesting because the whole movie Moneyball is about the Oakland A's and their big run that they had when they had 20 wins in a row to set a record. So,
Well, this is almost like that, except totally the opposite.
Totally the
So
opposite.
It says Chicago's on the longest losing streak since the 1988 Baltimore Orioles lost 21 in a row. The NL record, what's NL?
National League.
Thank you. Since 1900 is held by the 1961 Philadelphia Phillies, who lost 23 straight. So keep it up, White Sox. You could be there.
It's also weird to me. It's like one of the most asymmetrical sports. I kind of like that. Like when you're on defense, you're playing a totally different game than when you're on offense. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's completely different. You know, it's like 1 versus 9. You know, 9 on 1, essentially. You don't really have that. Like when you get possession of the basketball in the NBA, 4 players don't leave the court. You know what I mean?
I'd be like, you're on your own, buddy. Have fun.
It's one of the things we never really think about with baseball in particular, how asymmetrical the game is. And there's not many asymmetrical sports, you know.
No,
Not many.
that's probably one of the biggest for sure.
I'm excited about something today.
Go ahead.
Mush's automatic little pellet feeder is coming. So now he's
So
going to
this is like a drip feeder, right? So this is.
I hope so.
So shout out to Reddit who suggested a variety of ways that we can try to help our idiot cat not eat his like entire food allocation for the day and immediately vomit up unchewed food pellets. They suggest there are maze feeders. I guess there's cat versions of the same kind of thing that's used frequently for dogs. What we're going to try right now is like almost like a drip feeder. Like it'll drop out a couple pellets every now and again, so he can't get them all at once.
He has to spend the whole day eating, basically.
Or he would have to do that thing where you're willing to wait and be patient and watch them drip, drip, drip until the whole thing's full, and then you go for it.
Or he just waits and then it's filled at the end of the day. We'll see what happens.
He won't do that.
We'll work our way through this. There was another suggestion where people said just take a handful of cat food and throw it out on the floor, called scatter feeding, where you just throw it out and it scatters all over the floor.
Well, news for
That's
you, buddy.
pretty gross.
We have an 18-month-old, and she does that for us.
Exactly right. She does that all the time.
We don't even have to ask.
Yeah, and we're not going to feed our cat the same way we feed our kids. That's not going to be the way we do it. So we'll have more updates on Mush's tummy problems.
We'll keep you posted.
And I do appreciate everyone who also contributed. Like it could be this, could be like hyperthyroid, hypothyroid. Get the thyroid checked on the cat. So appreciate that. We'll be sure to ask the vet the next time he's in for a checkup and see how he's doing. If this feeder doesn't work.
Yes,
And
but
if
also
not, he's on his way to the vet.
Yeah, but we do know the hypothyroidism symptoms to look for because my cat Nutmeg did have hypothyroidism, and we watched that progress.
I want a pellet feeder.
You want a pellet feeder for yourself?
I do, because I feel like I'm ready for 2 things. I could move to the silver jumpsuits tomorrow, like for the future, where everyone wears the silver jumpsuit. I'm so ready for that. I'm ready for like a uniform.
Are
and
you
we all
ready for
wear
the
same
noise though? Because I saw an Instagram video recently where someone was saying like, "Do you remember what the '90s sounded like?" And this girl had on one of those like those jumpsuits, you know, the ones that were all like the pink and green and purple like fluoro color blocks, and she was doing the zip, 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 zip,
We have
zip,
new
zip,
materials now.
zip, zip,
We're
zip.
fine.
Zip. You don't think those silver ones are going to go zip, zip, zip
No, because I think
every time you
if
move?
you fast forward about 25 years to where we are now, I think thigh distance has, over time, on average, has closed. And so they'll have something to do with thighs rubbing together now. I think on average, thighs are bigger at this
Maybe
point in
your
time.
thighs have closed, buddy.
I'm just saying on average. Demographically.
Yeah, I mean, look, silver jumpsuits are definitely like a style. That's the next thing coming for sure.
Why do you think I want a pellet feeder? Because I don't want my zip on my when I put on my silver jumpsuit and walk around. And I could also move to if they give us food and pills, and you get like 4 pills a day, and that's all your caloric and vitamin needs for the day. I'm all about it.
You don't want your tasty treats?
I do. That's my problem. I do. Here's the problem I find.
Go
That
ahead.
food addiction is one of the toughest things to deal with because it's the only one you have to do. You can't just stop cold turkey. Literally, you might literally eat cold turkey, but you can't just stop. Like, there's no one who goes into like Narcotics Anonymous and they go, here's our plan. Just do a little bit of heroin. Just do enough. Don't do too much. Just do enough. Heroin in moderation. They don't say that. They say, stop with the fucking heroin, you.
Well, Bernie, I think,
I don't know if that's exactly the advice
Is
they
that
give
how
them.
that goes?
Hey, you, enough with the heroin.
knock it off, bud. Here's the thing, though, is that, Bernie, you're right. Food addiction has to be the most ubiquitous addiction plaguing
We've
our
all
society.
got it.
Imagine this, Bernie. Is there anyone you've met who does not eat?
No. Well, our toddlers, yes. But yeah, one toddler.
Is there anyone who does not have a physical and emotional dependency? Let's talk physical first. A physical dependency on food.
Want
Who
to
can
analyze
stop that?
food as an addiction? Do you find that you eat alone? Do you eat first thing in the morning?
Do you find you need it to function on a daily basis?
Do you need to eat to be in social situations?
Without it, do you find yourself tired, weak, emotionally vulnerable?
Do you eat when you're depressed? So the answer to all those questions is, of course, yes, all of them. So there needs to be something like, just give me, like the Jetsons, a little door opens in the wall in our kitchen, zoop, and there's a little compartment, and I pull out my 4 pills for the day. I get an egg sandwich, then a peanut butter jelly, and then a steak dinner, and I'm done.
Do you taste the pills, or is it just a pill giving you the nutrition of the steak dinner?
What do I look like, a pillologist? I don't know. That's some egghead's job in the lab to figure that stuff out. I'm a consumer. I just have to wish for things and wait for them to come down the pipe.
Well, I mean, the closest thing you've got to that is like meal replacement shakes, right? Where you just have these, choose your flavor. You can have peanut, chocolate, banana, or strawberry, and you're allowed exactly this many per day. Bam. There's all your vitamins, there's all your nutrition, there's everything there's all your calories. That's all you need. Just don't have anything except these shakes.
So we get some, we want to do another news roundup here. There's a lot of stuff in the news. I was reading this article. Elon Musk is now suing OpenAI, renewing claims that ChatGPT is essentially being unsafe, that the ChatGPT maker is putting profits before the benefit of humanity. And I read that headline, Elon Musk suing OpenAI, and I thought, is that the most 2024 headline we could have at this point in time? Like, what could you add to this headline to make it more 2024 than it is?
Let's see. Let's add to it. Okay. Elon Musk sues OpenAI claiming lack of trigger warnings.
OpenAI gets sued by Elon Musk for Olympic assassination attempt. That's what I would say.
Elon Musk sues OpenAI. Bees found in vicinity.
At opening to Inside Out 2. That was the whole thing. I guess Deadpool as Wolverine has replaced Inside Out 2. Have you seen the fervor about Deadpool and Wolverine now? Not spoilers. We're going to try not to be spoilers.
I think so. Is this the one about Wolverine?
So it's resurfaced. So there's some kind of glitch that apparently some people noticed in theaters. I'm always amazed when people can notice stuff like this, where at some point in the movie, Deadpool just goes to put away his katana or raise his katana, and it passes through Wolverine's arm.
A clipping issue.
Clipping issue in a major Marvel Studios production. And it reignited this thing of which I missed the first time
Okay,
around.
first of all, who's able to pause and and see that clipping issue in a theater? This is the kind of,
Pirates, Ashley at home. That's who's noticing
yeah, I guess
that
so. I was
stuff.
going to say this is the kind of thing that I expect, once it comes to video on demand and streaming and that kind of thing where people can pause and like slow-mo and back up and look at this thing again. That's when I expect these deep dives to take place. It's in theaters, man.
There's also a weird phenomenon, and I don't know what this is called. It's some kind of bias. We've made a lot of videos online for a long period of time. There's been a weird thing that I've noticed over the years where you can put out a video and it has a mistake in it. Okay.
Okay.
Video goes out. Video could be out for a month, a full month. Suddenly a commenter makes a comment on it. Usually it's a couple days, but let's just say it's a month, some period of time. Commenter makes a comment going, hey, the katana passed through his arm. Everyone after that point in time says, I can't even watch this video because the katana passing through the arm bothered me so much. As soon as somebody points it out, everyone also saw it retroactively as well. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah. Like everyone is like, oh, now it's ruined.
And I don't know if it's like they're trying to be like, oh yeah, I totally saw that or whatever. But it is weird how like that dominates the conversation after one person points it out.
Yes. And it might be one of those things where people don't want to be seen as less observant than someone else.
Yeah.
So, of course, they also see the thing. I'm going to just raise my hand and say, I did not see a katana pass through Wolverine's arm.
How could you see anything in that? I mean, how could you possibly see anything in it? And I'm not saying, too, this thing, to be clear, I'm not saying people read the comment and then watch the video and go, oh, that ruined it for me because then I couldn't not see it. It's not that. It's that they also saw it retroactively. They say, I also noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that, too. Yeah, also noticed that. And it could go weeks before somebody makes the first comment, and then 90% of the comments after that
all the
are
conversation.
all about that. Yeah. So the reignited controversy over Deadpool and Wolverine is now, Ashley, I hate to ruin this for you.
Okay.
There's speculation that Hugh Jackman's arms were CG.
Did he lose his arms in a terrible accident?
This could be a little spoilerish, but this is more trailer based. So I think that's fair game. We're dealing with a thing right now where, I shouldn't even say this. We're finishing up watching House of the Dragon, and season 2 has ended. And
it has. They've actually announced too that it's ending on season 4. Season 3 isn't going to start filming until next year. So they've officially announced when it's ending, which I do appreciate in the same way that they announced that The Boys, is going to end with its next season. I like knowing that they're building to a set conclusion.
I love it.
Although
I love this trend.
We also, though, I mean, within like House of the Dragon, where it's like it's a finished material, you're like, yes, we know where it's going. It's building to this thing, and then off we go, and we have a complete series. We're not ending on a cliffhanger. Hoorah!
Yeah, we're not ending on a cliffhanger. That'll be great. Hopefully they'll make it all the way through. At some point, there will be the horizon of digital series where something does so poorly they don't make it all the way through to their announced ending.
You mean like most of the Netflix series that don't make it is it 2 or past season 3?
Well,
it's very difficult for a lot of streaming series to get past like the 3rd season. And I think that's supposedly partially due to the way contracts work. Like everyone gets big raises after a certain point. So the show becomes much more expensive to make. And sometimes they go, nah.
Well, no, I'm saying is like they've never announced, hey, this thing's going to go to 4 seasons, and then they get to the end of season 3, and everyone's like, and they're like, oh, I guess.
All right,
stop.
guess not. Yeah, we'll stop. That's
cut
true.
This out. But but if you're like us and you have not yet finished the current season 2, and it's going to season 4, which according to Teriology, we have another 5 seasons. If you're like us and you haven't seen, just beware because I'm seeing so many like quote unquote not spoilers, but they show like pictures of people that are in it going, can't believe what so and so did or whatever, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I don't think this is that because this is from a trailer, but there was reaction. Corridor Digital did a whole video about this. We'll link to a Screen Rant article that they did for the trailer back in June, where they showed previous shots where it was Wolverine's costume with sleeves and then Wolverine's costume without sleeves. And these guys were being, I thought, very gracious in the video where they're saying that looks like a CG arm, which is probably more realistic for a 57-year-old dude that they would replace. Is that 57? Also, I had forgotten about this. Hugh Jackman, very famously,
He's 55.
He's 55. Very famously, a sufferer of skin cancer. And so there was also speculation that they covered his arms so that then they could then replace them later. because he had to keep his arms out of the sun.
Sun protection.
Yeah, exactly. And so they go through and they show like the seams of the suit and everything like that. I will say this. I have seen before Marvel go to incredibly, what I appreciate as being incredibly deep attempts to avoid spoilers.
They did it a lot with Infinity War is a good example. The trailer for Infinity War showed there were like different characters. There were things removed. There were a lot of like red herrings because people were so deep into trailer analysis. They wanted to actually have some surprises in the movie, so they changed the trailer.
If you haven't seen Infinity War, spoiler, we're going to talk about that for a second. Specific things in Infinity War.
Earmuffs.
They CG'd the Hulk into the original trailer. And like there's a charge towards the camera. The Hulk is not in that movie. You know?
They removed
he's in the first 2 minutes.
They removed a bunch of the Infinity Stones from the gauntlet.
Yeah, specifically if you look at, if I recall correctly, they edited all the shots of Thanos so he only has the first 2 stones. So you could never figure out how far he got. And the shot where Cap like pushes back when Thanos is putting the gauntleted hand down on Cap and Cap's pushing back on it, and you get that kind of reaction of what the fuck from Thanos. If you look at that shot, that's right at the end when they're going after Vision. So he would have all of the stones except for the Life Stone. Or is that the Mind Stone?
Mind Stone.
Mind Stone, yeah. The Yellow Stone. Yellow Stone. He doesn't have Kevin Costner. You can go look at that shot in particular. You'll notice that they have edited out all the stones. So it's really cool that they did that stuff, I think. Another
major thing that they changed in the Infinity War trailer is if you look closely, you'll notice that Wolverine's arms are CGI. He doesn't actually have any arms in Infinity War.
You know what's funny is in like the James Gunn Suicide Squad, there's a dude whose arms come off. And I couldn't help but think about that. Nathan Fillion plays him.
Yeah.
And,
he's like the detachable kid or something like that.
I think James Gunn went deep into the lore to pull some heroes out.
What's this? Elon Musk sues OpenAI for replacing Hugh Jackman's arms. That's amazing.
And they somehow ended up in Inside Out too. They landed on Furiosa. But this week is turning out. I thought yesterday was going to be kind of a crazy downer week, and yesterday was down. But just in the business world, futures are up. The Japanese stock market dropped 12% yesterday.
That's a huge drop.
Would you care to guess how much it came up today?
6?
11.
What?
So we're in a period of insane volatility. Just insane volatility.
So hold on to your butts, buckle up. Hope everyone's okay out there.
And it looks like Iran is kind of mitigating their language a little bit because they're saying
they don't want all-out war.
They don't want an all-out regional war, which I think will be good because there's a lot of fear out there in the world. And while we were talking about our good friend, Mr. Musk over at X, did you read that he just tweeted as the owner of X, Twitter, probably the most viewed posts on the website? I'm just going to assume via some algorithm.
Right, some natural algorithm.
Civil war is inevitable. He just tweeted that, like, we're gonna have a civil war. He's just like entering that into the public conversation. Thanks for that, buddy.
I mean, Civil War came out in 2015, and we all agree it was Avengers anyway.
Well, there was a civil war this year too.
That's true.
Yeah.
Was that this year?
Yeah, that was this year. That was earlier this year.
It was like March, right? March or April.
You know, I can know it was this year because it was on this podcast. It's weird. This podcast feels like it's been going a really long time, but there's nothing on this podcast that happened prior to this year. Nothing. Like we never talked about Infinity War ever.
Well, now I feel young.
Well, what else do you want to talk about? I could kind of a downer story. While we're on more downer stuff, and maybe we can end with a positive thing, like another beloved vault of content being deleted from the internet forever.
Is that
actually
a positive story?
Yeah.
We'll end on that.
Really quickly though, here's a piece of good news. Kamala Harris now is the official Democratic presidential nominee. So it's official now.
So a little bit of volatility taken out there.
Harris versus Trump. So Kamala Harris, she is now the VP, or now the presidential candidate, and she has to pick who her VP running mate will be.
Right, narrowing it down between a couple different people at the moment, right?
Yes. Have you read any speculation as to who it will be?
It could be an astronaut, Mark Kelly. I like to think they're going to run on the platform of bring Butch and Sonny home.
Bring him home. Bring him home. Why bring him home? They're not trapped anywhere. You know?
They're definitely not stranded.
I like what that story's eventually going to pivot to, guys, you are home. They always lived there. What? Those astronauts, that was their permanent residence. But the best speculation that I read online for who Kamala Harris's running mate would be Pete Davidson. Women really cannot resist him in any way whatsoever.
Look, his portfolio is pretty deep.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Here, really quickly. Pete Davidson,
Yep, go ahead.
as the reigning female of this podcast, okay, on behalf of all
Do I get a medal?
womanhood,
Yep.
you can have all the medals you want. On behalf of every woman everywhere,
Okay.
explain. Just explain it.
Okay, it's a track record, right? You got to wonder what these girls know because he pulls 10 after 10 after 10 after 10. What do they know? Is he an absolute monster in the sack? What's going on?
By the way, when she says 10 after 10, she means 10 out of 10 beauty. He's not a Twitch streamer.
Jesus. Wow. Oh my God.
It's Tuesday. It's 1:15 everybody. How you doing out there?
Traffic is looking a bit heavy. But yeah.
All right, enough explanation. It's just when you see a pretty woman with a dude, you're like, okay.
Well, so take this, right? Like if a girl sees like a guy and he's taken, that's always like a point in favor of the guy. You'd be like, all right, if he ever comes up available, he's already got a point in his favor because someone was willing to put up with him. Okay. Take that and now multiply it by like all of the like hottest women you've ever seen. And you're like, there's something going on. This track record is too good. I would also hop on that just to find out what it is.
Okay. Hop on that just to figure out what it is. So it's really
Take a little ride on the Long Island Express.
You're basing it on his history.
Yes.
So this falls into the trap of that a guy with more people in his body count, essentially, depending on who those people are. Would you ever, though, as a woman, look at somebody in somebody's body count and go, gross?
The body count, no. But I'm also going to be like, who have they dated? Are they all crazy? What does that say about me?
Okay, that's fair.
Or be like, he's dated hotties. What does that say about me? Says I'm a hottie.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's just like
It's
a stamp
not
of approval?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's like an investment. There was a whole movie in the 80s.
It's like joining a club.
There's a movie in the 80s. You remember the movie, I want to say it was the first movie ever with Patrick Dempsey. It was called Can't Buy Me Love. Did you ever see that one?
I did not.
It was in the John Hughes era of movies, but it wasn't a John Hughes movie. And
this was directed by Steve Rash, starring Patrick Dempsey and Amanda Peterson.
It's the first movie I ever remember that had Patrick Dempsey in it.
Okay. It's a story about a nerd at a high school in Tucson, Arizona, who gives a cheerleader $1,000 to pretend to be his girlfriend for a month.
And he becomes like the most popular person in school because they're like, why is she dating him? And then guess what? They end up falling in love. Spoil, Go figure. And he learns the hubris of popularity.
Not the fake relationship trope.
It all worked out. It all worked out for him, and that's where I first learned it. Yeah, track.
So
record's a thing.
maybe what he did is he spent his first SNL paycheck on a fake girlfriend.
What's wrong with this, by the way? We started off talking about the presidential election in the United States. We spent about 10 times the amount of time talking about Pete Davidson's girlfriends.
Well, we're really just what's wrong with society, Bernie.
Who's the hottest in Pete Davidson's history? Who's the hottest?
Kate Beckinsale.
Really? Interesting.
Look, I have a soft spot for Kate Beckinsale. I have been in love with that woman since Cold Comfort Farm. She was wonderful.
What? That's okay. Go ahead.
That was I think the first thing I saw her, and she was so pretty.
Cold Comfort Farm sounds like somewhere you go to get like artisanal benches and stuff like that.
It also had, I want to say, Rufus Sewell in it. It was a lovely farm love story. Anyway, and have you seen this babe in Underworld? God damn.
Okay, there you go. Now you're getting into it. Underworld.
Yeah, and she was good in that Shakespearean one. It was it also had, I want to say, Emma Thompson in it.
So anyway, the point of all this is Kamala Harris is now the Democratic presidential candidate. Listen, at this point, you know who I would nominate for VP? Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Look, everyone loves that guy.
Everybody loves Snoop Dogg. Everybody.
He's managed to make it work.
He does. Yeah, he's made it work. All right, should we give a eulogy to Game Informer, which had closed down earlier this week or late last week, I should say. And then now Ashley very bitter development.
Yeah, so GameStop announced that they're shutting down Game Informer, their sort of in-house magazine for video games. And not only did they shut it down, but then they basically pulled down the entire website, every article that's ever been written on Game Informer, essentially their digital library. And it was just replaced with this statement that, according to Forbes, appears to be written by AI, just about the shutdown. And so now everything that Game Informer ever did is gone.
Well, I mean, I know a lot of people are nostalgic for it. I was working with GameStop at the time, and so it was always kind of an in-house magazine where
it was always kind of weird because they had reviews, but it was owned by GameStop, whose entire all they want to do is sell you a game. So that always felt a little bit weird. But they had so many articles, they had so many exclusives, they had so much stuff, and it's all gone. How weird to have,
2 decades of articles written by humans to be replaced by 2 paragraphs supposedly written by an AI. How interesting is that?
Yeah, that's the, what's this? Oh, Elon Musk is suing the Game Informer announcement.
We got there eventually. What did Cyborg Pete Davidson have to say about it? All right, who should we thank for today's episode of Morning Somewhere, Ashley?
I'd like to thank Caleb Lind and Tyler Kreutzer. Thank you both for sponsoring this episode of Morning Somewhere at patreon.com/morningsomewhere.
All right, well, that does it for us today, August 6, 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you will be here as well.
Bye, everybody.